Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of
Yes,
Capes
sir.
Cast. I'm Jeremy,
And I'm Ryan.
and let's start with the news. There's
Yeah.
really not a whole lot, but there's honestly the one that we were just kind of talking about.
Mm,
So there seems to be a new Ultimate title coming later this summer.
right.
I don't know many of the details surrounding it.
But we do know that this summer that Jonathan Hickman's Imperial event is happening.
Right.
So it kind of makes me wonder if something's going to spin out of that or spin with it.
I don't know. Just based off the kind of where we're at with the Ultimate Universe as a whole, what do you think the series is going to be?
Man, I honestly think it's going to be, I don't know, because Dennis Camp has like covered so much already that like I can't really think. Um, well, if it's an Imperial event and if we're having it around that, do you think it would be
Well,
like,
I think Imperial, I believe, is supposed to be 616.
could be, yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
I don't know that it'll be anything Ultimate related.
Right. Um, could be. But I'm trying to think on like who is a staple that we haven't seen yet. Like
Is it Ultimate Daredevil maybe?
that would be cool. I'd be cool with that.
Oh, I guess also this is kind of like tangent to, I mean, it is Marvel related. Donny Cates announced that he's kind of like back.
I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see.
I don't know that I'll be reading anything that he's doing for a while,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, if he's doing an Ultimate book, maybe I'll give it a shot. You know what I mean? Not to
Right.
be like that's probably really honestly the only book I'd give it a shot, like at least for right now.
I
Like,
mean, that kind of seems like a safer option with him getting out of everything he just got out of and just kind of being like,
what do
"Hey,
you think?
let's
What do you
start
think
new
it
with
would
this
be?
brand new character."
What do you think it would be? Ultimate Daredevil then?
I hope it's nothing too edgy because I feel like Donny Cates loses
Right.
himself with the edginess.
Ultimate. Well, I mean, I guess if you wanted to do the paranormal stuff, you could do something cool there.
I just hope he's not doing like Ultimate Venom or something. Or
That would be lame.
that would be lame. But like, with how they're building up Venom in this series right now, I feel like it's either going to be because I don't know. I really don't know because Hickman, I want to say that Richard is going to probably be Venom in this, but then again, in issue 12, they announced that the Brocs are part of this universe somehow too.
Did they?
But yeah, they mentioned the Brocs in the Christmas issue.
I don't
They
know.
just they just kind of mention they don't show them or anything, but they mention that the Brocs exist.
Uh,
They're
is it
like
the
talking
sister
about
that
them.
mentions them?
I think so. It's somebody like that where they talk about the Brocs though. It's very just in passing, but
I was
it's like,
gonna say like
hey,
that
we got
that
this symbiote thing pretending to be Peter, and you mentioned
like
the Brocs.
I don't remember that bit of dialogue, but
Mhm.
like I feel like it may have come from either the sister, like MJ's sister, or like
The ant that
yeah, or right, yeah, or like the
yeah,
older aunt. You know what I mean?
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah,
Hmm.
I who knows? It would be interesting. I mean, I guess I mean that's like a whole. We're getting. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna. We have all the time in the world now. We don't even have to worry about it.
No, but I do remember one bit of news that did come out. The next Amazing Spider-Man arc. You heard of this, right?
What?
That they're digging up Gwen
Oh
Stacy.
yes, yes. It's stupid, bro.
It's like, hey, Marvel, we just got done with Zeb Wells. Do you have a great idea on where to take this character?
Joe Kelly said, "Let's keep up with the stupidity."
Needless to say, I will not be reading it. I will not be getting it. They will not be catching me with that. It's
Do you
just
think it?
another.
Do you think it's a bait and switch?
I just think they're out of
E e
ideas. I
even
think
if
they're
it
out of
even
ideas,
okay,
bro.
even if it is a bait and switch and they're just like doing it for like the rage bait, just I'm over it, dude.
We don't need Gwen back. We don't need to touch that again. We don't need to. Dude, one of the best stories of Spider-Man is him dealing with Gwen's being gone, and
Yeah,
that's
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
Blue.
Blue. And like now you're just gonna
How,
ruin Spider-Man Blue?
okay, here's my thing. Like, one, why?
Yeah.
Two, like, what purpose is she gonna serve like Peter as a character now? And
I don't know because you
how is
remember
she
the
gonna be
last time
brought
she was
back?
back and how like gross they did her, like with Norman and with like a clone and with the. It was gross. It was a mess. It was something that they shouldn't bring that
Love
toy
it.
out of the box again.
You love to
Like
see it, dude. They don't give a shit about Spider-Man, bro. It's fine.
yeah, because then it's like, what's gonna happen now if she's back and then Norman sees her, and then we get that whole thing again, and then it's dumb, it's
Daddy Norman,
predictable, they're
man.
out of ideas. I think it's just
He's
at this
gonna leave
point,
Peter for Norman because he's older and more experienced.
right?
And it's gonna be used as another tool to hate Peter and to make his life even worse.
This probably would have been better when he was doing that whole sin eater thing, when his sins were eaten, and then he sees Gwen, and then it's kind of like, oh shit, I'm repenting for all
Yeah,
the
I
dirty,
don't know.
nasty stuff I did.
I don't know. I feel like her staying dead is obviously for the best. It's
It
just
is,
stupid that we're doing this regardless. If
yeah.
it is a bait and switch, okay, maybe it'll be something cool. I don't know. But if it is, it's just stupid.
It's just put Mary
Um,
Jane and Peter back together, man. Just stop all this bullshit. Just do it. Just do that. It's all you have to do.
they won't, dude. They already made that very clear.
No. But that's why at this point I'm just going to be collecting backlogs of my favorite Amazing Spider-Man stories, and I think I'm pretty much done at this point with 616 Spider-Man.
25%, dude. That's pretty any good. So
Mm, that's true. I'll just get the DeMatteis stuff and some of the early Lee and Kirby stuff and
there you go,
call
dude. Call it a day.
it.
Um,
Besides that, Ultimate Spider-Man is my Spider-Man, and I'll be sticking with that.
I mean that's the only one that's good right now. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm this whole time I've been trying to wrap my head around who it might be, like what the
Oh,
title could
Venom?
know what the ultimate book could next ultimate book could
Oh, I
be.
thought you were talking about. Oh, I thought you were talking about 616 Venom.
No, I don't know. I still have no idea if like okay, like Daredevil is the obvious choice, but like what other characters I feel like are I
What
mean
if the Guardians that we just got introduced to got their
that's
own book?
true. You could do like a cosmic book. Dude, Ultimate Nova would be sick. That would
Ultimate
be
Nova would be way
sick,
dope.
bro.
Yeah. But yeah, if we got like the
Dude,
time
Ultimate Nova
traveling
by
old like
Al
Gal
Ewing.
Guardian
Don't even
story, if we
start
got
with
like the
me,
time
bro.
traveling Guardian story where they're like time traveling and we see more of the Ultimate Universe that way and like
Yeah, like coming from the opposite end.
yeah,
That could be.
and then we would probably see they would have find out more about the Maker, what he's done in the past, what he's going to be doing in the future. Like, there's a lot you could do with that, and that'll be fun. And
That's
it's not
true.
like there's not a great motivation on them trying to find stuff out with Captain Marvel and America once being in a relationship, and them trying to get America back and get her memories back. And there's a lot of stuff you could do.
Ultimate Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
If Donny Cates did that, I'd read it. Honestly, I love
yeah.
Silver Surfer
You
Black, bro. I
you
love
you
that
might
book.
have you might have figured it out right there. That could be it.
Bingo.
Hmm.
I would read it. Okay, I'll take it back. If he was doing Ultimate Silver Surfer, I would read it.
Yeah.
I love Silver Surfer Black.
All I gotta say
Anytime
is
he wants to write Norrin, you go for it, buddy.
please give Pepe Larraz like an ultimate book. Because I feel like he's doing like Amazing Spider-Man, and I feel like it's such a waste for him to be touching that. So give
Give him
Pepe
something else.
Larraz some. He's incredible. I feel like,
Uh,
he's not, you've been utilized since Blood Hunt, really.
yeah, no, and well, he's yeah. I looked at the preview pages for Spider-Man. They look good,
Hmm.
but that's about it. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like that's whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Ultimate Spider-Man. Um, since I've been looking at the cover for like 5 minutes every time I glance over at my phone. Um, have you seen it yet?
The new one that Chichetto posted,
Yeah, dude.
it's giving me Willem Dafoe, like
Do you think that he's still alive?
Norman?
Yes.
No. What I think is that now that the suit's broken and the AI's broken, like Harry's hearing it in his head.
like all the
I think
time.
Harry's going full on like Green
I
Goblin.
don't know, man. And maybe it's just another cover bait and switch like number 10 was with like the homage to like that classic cover where he's just like got, where he's got Jameson.
Yeah,
But what does roll with me? What if Norman is not dead and Harry dies and he takes up the mantle of Green Goblin, but doesn't tell Peter and Peter doesn't find out that it's Norman until the year
I would be
52.
okay with that only if Aunt May didn't die the same way that Norman died. Because that would mean
But here's the thing, Norman being rich, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for him to have like faked his death or found like a way to get out before it all happened.
that's true.
Whereas Aunt May wouldn't have that availability. Like she wouldn't be able to do that in the same manner that because she's just like a regular ass person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I could see that.
So,
Could
and
be.
maybe he's just laying low.
It could be. All I'm saying is the initial thing I got was the whole sequence of Spider-Man 1 where he's basically staring at the helmet and he's hearing the helmet in his head. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's
but like,
basically where Harry's going to be is the AI is no longer going to be an external thing. It's going to be something that he's put in his like he can't get out of his head now.
right, because like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like 616 Harry kind of has like a bit of like mental instability stuff going on anyway, right?
Right.
But with that being said, he also dies in 616.
Yeah.
That's when Norman comes back as the Goblin, right?
Right.
So it's not, I don't think it's impossible for maybe it's a switcheroo where he does die. Norman's revealed to be alive and then takes up the mantle as Green Goblin, but it's not revealed to Peter until much later. And all of their interactions are maybe on the outs because of everything that's happened. They're just out and about interacting. They're not necessarily like hanging out at Oscorp, doing the tech stuff all together anymore. So
Right.
it kind of like just because of with Craven's Last Hunt and then being with the next several issues with them being hunted by the Sinister Six, it may be one of those things where they decide to kind of like fly solo and play a little bit safer. In the
Hmm.
meantime, this gives Norman the opportunity to kind of like take advantage of that if Harry does die.
Right. I mean, that could be it. That could be it. I I really don't know because this whole series has been keep me on my toes. I never know what to expect in
Yeah,
the next
right.
issue.
And I think part, at least I think I say this, I think every time we talk about it, part of the fun I think is the speculation of it. And I was never
Mhm.
really a big speculative person, like as far as like story stuff goes. But all this stuff is just so fun and so like it's so much so entertaining to read every month. So
It
it's like hard
is.
not to like think about where the story could go, I guess.
I mean, yeah, but then if you think about it, it's like we never had an inkling that Richard would put on the suit. We never had an
Yeah,
inkling
exactly.
that
Yeah,
like
I
we never
never
had an inkling that this suit would be pretending to be Peter while Peter's kidnapped. Like
yeah.
it's all been very like smack across the face surprise. Like
Right. I mean, like I feel like pretty early on when they even talked about like the Pico suit like being like programmable matter
yeah,
and it kind of being like it being like black by default and then the AI thing being introduced like I think from the get even you were like okay maybe this will be Venom.
right.
And I mean it's definitely leaning that way.
Well, it only really gave it away because of the way it was a ball and like how it looked just so similar to Secret Wars, like
Yeah, and then the way that
1985.
it smiled, like just being like, yeah, like and it like as over the course of the series since it's been introduced, it's kind of like it's evolved, like you know what I
Yeah,
mean, it's something more,
right,
which is the way the symbiote works in the 616. It's like the longer it's around the host or it's attached to the host, and it like kind of like begins to like learn from it,
right.
which is
Exactly.
exactly how it learned like emotions, like hatred, like when Peter like when Peter removes the symbiote from himself.
Right.
It's like it hates Peter.
Yeah. It's got
Where
attachment issues, it's got separation anxiety, it's got like it's
right, exactly. So like it'll be interesting to see how like AI develops that and the way that it's like integrated with this programmable matter as as we understand it, like the way that it is like kind of like a high tech symbiote.
well, also you got to remember Peter said, "I want it to be me." Like if I'm gonna
Yeah,
hear anybody's voice in my head, it's gonna be me. So this thing is literally taking on being Peter.
his characteristics, right?
Exactly. So it's very much like I feel like that's gonna be another separation anxiety thing when Peter comes back, I feel like, and he's gonna be like, oh no, you were on Richard, like, oh no, and then he's gonna neglect it. And it's probably gonna be a thing of Richard, I don't want you even being around it, and I can only imagine
Right. And like,
that
and here's,
spiral.
and like, that's, and I think we talked about this last issue too. Like, what happens when, Richard's been spending all this time with this, you know, AI Peter, and it's like kind of like being there for him when he needs him to be,
Exactly.
in a way that Peter wasn't there for him when he was around.
Yeah, you're like my dad if he was actually here for me.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, Richard's going through this really tough time, and he's still hearing his dad's voice, and he's kind of seeing his dad's face, and it's protecting him in a way, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's encouraging him and uplifting him and giving him these abilities that he wouldn't otherwise have,
Right.
and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out
I'm
because
stoked, man. I'm stoked.
yeah,
I can't wait. I wish this was one of those like bi-weekly, bi-monthly books.
not for $5, dude.
I don't care. I want more. I want more. But I get it. It's a
Even if
monthly
it was
format
seven
in the
ninety
book
nine,
too. It's
dude.
a monthly format in the book too, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But it's just I can't. I always want more. Like getting to
No,
that
that's
final
good, dude.
page is always killer for me. It's like
That's good stuff, man.
I envy the
Um,
people who get to binge it all at once.
I know.
You know.
Um, Pick a book to start with.
Let's see. I'll start with what's on the first here. I really enjoyed Aquaman, dude. Aquaman was sick. Did you read it? Read it? What does this imply? Does this imply that Arthur is going to be a new god, or he is a new god,
I
or
was just gonna ask you the same thing, but the cover, have you seen the cover for issue 3?
no, I haven't.
It literally has Aquaman's face up close with the Omega symbols in his eyes. He's like got like a dark, like a Earth face. And literally the cover, like the trade dress says Dark Side is Aquaman with a question mark exclamation point. Do you
What is going on?
is it gonna tie into New Gods and
It
what
has
Rand's
to.
doing?
It has to.
Where did Atlantis go? You know what I mean? Like what's
Well, it
going on?
has to because they even mentioned it. We'll get to that later, but they even mentioned it in the Green Lantern Corps book. They were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, where's Aquaman at? Like, we need Aquaman." And they're like, "Oh, he left, and we don't know when he's coming back." And
Yeah, exactly.
and so it's almost like I feel like all these all-in titles are literally trying to just even if it's just a tiny little thread, they're all trying to have these little threads
And
that
then that villain, Jenny, what's her face?
oh, Jenny,
17th?
yeah, forgot what,
17th, right? Is that what her name is?
yeah, something like that, yeah.
So and okay, so this the blue.
Is that aquatic life? Is that like a new green, gray, red?
Yes. So okay, so Robert, we talked about I think Robert might even follow you on Instagram. Do you guys follow each other? I don't know.
Which one's Robert?
We've talked about like just we've talked about anyway, friend of the show, Robert, because him and I chat all the time. Basically, he was telling me about the clear the other day, which is like kind of that same thing. It's like it controls aquatic life and that's kind of what the blue was like essentially been described as. But so I'm assuming that they're the same thing, but it's just kind of like a retcon in a way that matches up more so with the rest of everything else. But
Right.
like the way that it was described is it kind of seems like the blue is almost of like a supportive force to the rest. Like without the blue, the other ones like struggle to exist. Like they can't really coexist in the way that they do because water is in all of that stuff.
As much as I love this, it's just giving me Jeff Johns Green Lantern vibes, man. It's like just giving me this like here's the red and what the red can do, and here's this and what it can do. Here's this, and they all need each other, and
Well,
this one can't
I guess
function
that's
without
kind of the
this one.
problem you fall into when you designate things with colors, right? It's
Right.
like, if I guess not. kind of naturally speaking, if one color exists, the others have to exist, and if they all
Exactly.
exist, what do they represent? And if green represents plant life, red represents, you know, animal
Animal.
life, blue obviously represents water and aquatic life, and what are
Gray is
the
like the
others?
mycelium and mushrooms and fungus. And
Yeah, yeah, there's the rot, which is like dead and like decayed stuff. You've got the rhythm, which is like machinery and stuff. You've got I mean there's a lot now. There's so
I,
many.
I'm more intrigued by the whole dark side aspect because one, dark side died and he became a universe. Two, we have a baby dark side that's made in the absence of dark side and new gods. And now we have this happening.
Okay, but is it a baby dark side or is it like just a new god? You know what I mean?
Well, they said in Darkseid's absence, like a new god will be made on Earth.
Right. So it's not necessarily it's not like baby dark side around in like metal. You
Right.
know what I
It's
mean?
not
Like
like New 52 Baby Darkseid that happened. Like it's like
yeah, like
literally
after
like
Dark Side War, like where
yeah, it's like literally like there's a void in what Darkseid basically
right. So
is.
now
There's a
there's like
void
someone
that
needs
needs
to
to be
take his
filled now,
place.
and now the
Right.
universe is filling it, or the multiverse is filling it.
Right. Someone needs to take his place.
So that's what I feel like, but then it's also like throwing it away. It's like, whoa, what is happening here then? Okay. I think I got it. I think I got it. It just clicked as I was talking about it. If you remember correctly, Darkseid and all the new gods, they're all like human. It wasn't until Darkseid got the Omega Force that he started turning. I think he's tapping into the Omega Force.
Oh. It would make sense because like there's this prophecy and is it Orion?
Yeah.
He even like said like oh like it's just like it was like the prophecy like you're the dark tide or whatever.
Right. Because if you remember, which makes sense, Dark Tide, Dark Side,
Jeremy Adams, dude.
it makes
That's
sense.
just
And so
amazing.
I think that this is not really Darkseid related. It's just he's tapping into the Omega Force, and the Omega Force is what turned Darkseid from like human like to this like
Yes.
rock looking figure.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense actually.
So
That would
that's
be
what I think is going on. And if that's cool with me. I mean,
I like it. Yeah. Hey.
Arthur's kicking ass. I'm loving this Arthur just not giving two shits where he's like, I'll kill people. I'll
Yeah, like
kill. I don't
like
care.
2 issues in, we're like bloodbending. I dig it, dude. I'm
Yeah.
all I love
Like
it.
I thought that was dope. And
Right,
he's
dude. Yeah.
he's he's not like scared to kill. He's
Oh yeah, just straight up. See, like this is like I like when like the god characters in like these comic universes, like the superhero universes, kind of like don't play by the same rules that the like Earth-based heroes do. You know
right.
what I mean?
It's
Like
very
dang,
Thor like. Thor like too, he'll kill. He will kill if
like he's like, you want to get bodied, man? Like let's.
yeah. Yeah, he will kill. He doesn't give a
Yeah,
shit.
but like, and then you also have like, like Diana is like not afraid to like, and then yeah, now him, like now Arthur too. Like it's cool to see like they're them playing by their own sets of rules because they are like from a different world.
Right. And it's really cool too because I kind of like that like it's showing more of he's literally like pun intended, he's literally fish out of water in this. Like he's not
Yeah.
in while it's connected to main Earth Zero, Earth Prime DC, he's not in it. Like
Hmm.
he's so I'm kind of liking that too, where like usually Arthur is just underwater in the main universe, but now it's like he's over here now, and I kind of like that because now Aquaman can just be a focus. It's like not because even in Jeff Johns' run, you had other heroes popping up in his run.
Yeah.
You had in this, it's like it's just gonna be. This is like almost like a Black Label book that's happening because it's like in its own world and everything, but it's still the main line.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of liking that. Like Jeremy Adams, I feel like is able to work a lot and bend the rules a little bit because he's not in the main universe. And I think that's really cool for Arthur. I've never been so as interested as I am now in Aquaman. Like I am so
Yeah.
interested to see what happens next. I think Jeremy Adams is killing it. I don't know if you've seen the hate for Jeremy Adams that everybody has online for him.
What?
Yeah, dude. If you go on League of Comic Geeks, if you go on there, look at the comments, bro.
I don't ever look at the
Everybody,
comments on there, bro.
bro, everybody, Jeremy Adams gets so much flack on there. And I don't get it. And it's mainly because it's like, oh, the way he wrote Hal, he was like pervy to Carol in that first issue, and he was kind of a jerk. So I hate the way he writes Hal, so I'm done with Green Lantern.
What?
Yeah, dude. They said that Hal is like a pompous, like
I
perverted
mean,
jerk.
he is kind of a tool sometimes,
That's
but
what
it's how,
he is. That's his character. Yes. Like,
yeah, and
especially
like
when it comes to Carol. Like, especially when it comes to Carol.
they have a lot of history, and it's like I don't know, people.
And they're like, they wrote him to be so disrespectful to her new relationship, and like, and it's like,
He's like the home. Like, do they just not understand Hal as a character? Like, I don't really
I don't
like.
understand it. I don't understand it. Like, are they forgetting that he's the one that like made Ollie like basically help Speedy with his drug problem?
Well, like, not even just that. It's
Like he's not a douche all the time, dude. Like he's
yes, yes, exactly. Like, and here's the thing: is like the times he is a douche. It's like, do you like? And if you're complaining about it, it's like, have you even read anything Hal Jordan has ever been in?
right.
Like,
Have you ever read
he's a
Emerald
shithead,
Dawn where he
dude.
destroyed everything?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, and it's like on the day to day, the dude's kind of a shithead sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not like Guy Gardner's shithead. You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
But he's not like so tied up John Stewart.
But
He's
he
not
does get that way with not like he does get like a way with Carol, but it's only with Carol because he's always just like, "Hey, sweetheart, how you doing?" You know what I mean? It's like
right. It's like the old flame, like, hey,
it's not like he does that to every woman. It's not like he's waiting at every one, it's like he just does
right,
that's him and Carol, bro. Like him and Carol,
right. Yeah.
they have this like when they're not together, they're still flirting. Like they're still like that's the dynamic between them. Like it's and we all knew they were going to get back together anyway. So why are people
Yeah, I don't understand, dude. Like,
like, I don't
it's
get
like,
it.
and like, here's the thing: is like, okay, they broke up, and she's back with Hal, but because of it, I think we have a pretty cool new Lantern Corps kind
Yeah.
of thing going on. I
And
think
I
it's,
love that we're gonna segue into this now because did you read this?
I did.
I'm loving that they're giving an explanation to the sorrow now. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's a fracture in the emotional spectrum. This is like a new thing that's splintering out from it, and he's trying to make his own battery, and if he makes it, it's gonna break everything. Dope. I
Right.
wish I knew this whole time. You know?
Right. And here's the thing: is like the way that they've kind of set this whole thing up with the United Planets going through and like busting up all the batteries and ruining the spectrum in the way that they have.
Right.
And it's allowed for these new like emotional these new emotions to pop up on the spectrum that weren't there before, like sorrow or sadness and whatever you would want to call it. So it's cool to see like them kind of like these corpse and if if you want to call them that, like them being born
Hmm.
and kind of grow, like mature and evolve, because you have like he was just so overwhelmed by sorrow, and because he felt such a great level of sorrow, like it manifested in the ring that he had, that
Well,
Carol gave to him.
it could also be just because of the fact that he was hurt by a Green Lantern and a Star Sapphire and their energy,
Right.
and
And
he
like
felt
exactly.
sorrow so badly that it just kind of
Right, like he was already exposed to those like forces in a way.
exactly.
So like he was susceptible to it, so it just like it manifested through him. But because and the only reason it did manifest through him was because all of the spectrum has been fractured in the way that it was by
Right.
Thanos. So I think that's cool. And now that he's trying to like establish himself, almost like he'll kind of be like Larfleeze in that way, where he's the only one, at least for right now, because it's hard to imagine if he does get a battery, he's not going to be able to like seek like rings can't be made, and he's not going to find people out there
Yeah.
who have great sorrow, and who's to say what'll happen like when you find a hero who suffered through a lot and they're exposed to it and they get a ring.
Right. Because even he was affecting Carol. Remember, she was like, "I feel so sad." Like I feel
Yeah,
so. She was like started bawling her eyes out. She's like, "I'm so
yeah,
sad."
exactly. So
So
what?
even he's able to like it. Like I'm sure it's just like with every other one. Like how blue makes green stronger. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
like the sorrow can really bring down a Star Sapphire to like
Well,
a
right, because think about it, it's love.
right.
So that I mean, kind of like a natural opposite.
Right. So I think this is really cool. I think Jeremy Adams is doing a banging job. Dude, the way he wrote Sinestro in this is the best I've seen Sinestro since Jeff
Fire,
Johns. Like,
dude.
oh my God. That whole part of like John and Sinestro just like teaming up together and
Yes,
Sinestro
dude.
just being the biggest dick still, but like being the best Green Lantern, like he
Yeah,
claims.
but still, like, yeah, like basically showing like everybody why he's still like the best,
Yeah. Like, oh
and he
my God,
like,
this feels like Jeff John Sinestro is back. Like I
yeah,
feel like
he like walks her through like the whole like that girl, like the Tamaranian through like the whole process of like fear and how to control it and how to like get rid of it.
yeah.
And then he's like she deserves a ring, basically.
Yeah,
And I'm like, damn,
she
dude.
can do it and we need as
And
much
it's
empathy
cool
we
to
can have.
see him kind of take like on a mentor role.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
that Sinestro. I feel like Sinestro when people like write him as like a one-dimensional just villain character
Oh, dude.
dude that ending of that did you never finished it you said right? The like Jeff Johns run?
No, yeah, I've never finished
Okay.
it.
Cuz that ending for it is perfect and like there's like just this moment in it where Sinestro is like talking to Hal and he's like basically like issues before like Hal asked Sinestro like were we ever really friends like and like Sinestro never answers him but he finally answers him in like the final issue
Hmm.
and he's like
Yeah, I've read the issue where he asks him, but I haven't. I obviously never got to the end. But
yeah and he basically just says like that's the sad part about this like how like we'll always be friends or he's and he calls him Hal not just
hmm.
Jordan he calls him
Right,
Hal. So that's like a big thing. You're seeing him not just call him Jordan, you're seeing him call him Hal, and you're saying like he's saying that's the sad part about all this is like I've always considered you a friend. So
right.
they've always had this very like Sinestro's so complicated of a character, and I feel like nobody really gets it right besides Jeff Johns and now Jeremy Adams. Because I have the Venditti run of Green
Oh,
Lantern that's
yeah,
after
yeah. That came out, and that was early
Rebirth.
Rebirth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the whole Rebirth run. And I have that, and Sinestro is very. It's not the same. It's not this. It's a very
Mhm.
different Sinestro. It's a very uninteresting, one-dimensional Sinestro. But that whole Sinestro, like I'm stuck. I'm staying on this book now just because it's like I want to see more Sinestro. I want to see more Green Lantern Sinestro because he's awesome as much as he is a dick. Like he's awesome.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I've enjoyed this kind of like this shift from him, like as a character. Like at the beginning, he's very much just like kind of just straight up like just classic Yellow Lantern Sinestro, just a huge ass.
Yeah,
And then you see like when the like new core is a new Corrigan or Corrigar,
yeah,
his like his planet, and then it gets like attacked,
hmm
and he's just pissed, and he shifts into a Red Lantern,
yeah,
and he stops like Mogo. Is it? I'm like literally it's Mogo. I'm for sure.
yeah. It's Mogo. And
So
he
like when
stops Mogo from like that's terrifying, by the way. That
yeah,
idea,
like and
Mogo
like
being
by
a Red
himself,
Lantern,
dude, just like you know what I mean? Like he's just like a baller.
dude,
And
he's
now that
awesome.
now that he's back to being a Green Lantern, like he still has that edge to him, but you
Yeah,
see like him embody that, like kind of like step into that former glory in a
yeah,
way. And it's only really possible because Hal's kind of vouched for him
yeah,
and said like, look at all this shit he just did for us. Like he didn't have to do it, but like granted, he did it for selfish reasons, but he still did it. And we
yeah.
still kind of need him. And we're out of and he kind of needs us, like we're kind of like we can make this work. It's very tenuous right now, but we can make it work, I think, is kind of where they're at.
Right.
So
Which it's
I
great. Dude, I'm loving John Stewart in this. I'm loving that they're bringing the construct of his little sister back in.
Mhm.
I'm loving that. I'm loving like, and I think it's going to be a plot point for later. And he's like, people are going to be talking to me about this. Is like, this is a
Yeah,
problem, but not right now. And
yeah,
so you're kind of like, okay, that's a seed.
yeah,
And Jessica, her being such a leader in this too, like
yeah,
seeing her take on that kind of role, like everybody's interesting in this, dude. Like,
yeah. Right, and Simon kind of gets a moment to like pep talk her
yeah,
and stuff. It's cool.
yeah,
And then is that a Shiara at the end?
dude, yeah,
It looked like her, I thought. The helmet kind of threw me off, but I think that's her.
Yeah,
So that'll be cool. Her and John will be hanging out.
it's giving AU vibes, bro. It's giving
Hey.
AU vibes. And hey, go for it, Jeremy. I'm cool with it. Like Jeremy
Yeah.
Adams, like
I
it's
mean, the
great.
dude, he's very much inspired by the animated stuff and more like, more like classic era DC, like 90s era DC, early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm loving
I
that.
mean, I like it. I think it's cool. I don't know. That's where kind of DC thrived the most. You have like a lot of really interesting content come out in that era. You've got, you know, obviously his Flash is very much inspired by Wade and by Johns, and then you've
Yeah,
got his Green Lantern, which is very much inspired by Johns, and you've got his Aquaman, which is inspired. I don't read enough Aquaman, so I don't know, but like maybe like more like Peter David style stuff,
yeah, yeah.
but also kind of like with that because he's doing also Flash Gordon, and that has some like, sci-fi fantasy. It's got that flavor.
Who did?
He's Jeremy Adams is doing Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's been doing Flash Gordon. I think it does like 6 issues out now.
Oh, that's dope. I'm sure that's great too.
It's good. I've been reading it. I think I'm behind maybe an issue. I couldn't find it.
The only complaint I have about this issue was I need more Guy, but everything else was fantastic about it. But
Yeah,
I
good stuff.
can't wait to get more Guy because I'm sure Jeremy Adams is going to kill his characterization too because Guy is awesome.
Yeah, and he was using Guy like in the beginning of the
Yeah,
series, like and even in the backups and stuff.
yeah.
Um, but moving on. Uh,
What's up? You wanna, I see that face. You want to talk about
yeah, man. Yes.
it?
Oh, it was incredible, man.
I really love that he's trying to explain that really terrible final arc of the last Thor run in this too.
Yeah. Okay. So for what was the last issue we covered? 18 maybe?
Yeah.
Talked about Magni being back. No, it
No, we
was
talked
Tales
about the
of
Tales of
Asgard.
Asgard.
Tales
Yeah,
of
we talked
Asgard.
about the Tales of
So like
Asgard.
in that issue, it opens up with them saying that Thor is like away. He's not there right now. Like he's not in Asgard right now.
Right.
Like he's seeking counsel by somebody very important to him, but they don't say who. This issue tells us where he went. So he went to go see his not his mother Gaia, and not definitely not his mother, the Phoenix, because she's not his mother. So let's get that out of the way right now. That's not true. It's a fallacy. Shit, I just keep hitting my laptop. That's fine. Um, so that's just how much it pisses me off. Phoenix is not his mom. So Freya, he
Yeah.
goes to see
So
Freya.
is this like the true mom then?
I mean, it's the one that's been in his life for the longest. Like Gaia. Okay, so like little backstory with Gaia. So Gaia is his birth mother. Odin shagged an elder god very long
Got you.
ago.
But Freya
And
raised him.
huh?
But Freya helped raise him.
Yes. Yes. So he eventually, he went on to marry, Freya. And yeah, so Freya was been with him for a long time. And she was effectively his mom. So in issue 300, I'm pretty sure. So like that whole saga, it's a Celestial saga. That's like the Celestials, the fourth host, they're basically saying like, we're coming, like they basically deem Earth like unworthy and they're gonna like wipe the planet out. And Gaia has been preparing these 12 like basically like new gods that were revealed, I think, in issue 200, where Odin kind of brings them forth out of just regular Earth like humans to prevent ego from taking over the planet. Um, so that's where it's revealed that she's his mother because Thor is the only one fighting the Celestials. Like it's 100% a losing battle.
Right.
But like dude is like literally just trying to like just like by himself like just tear it up.
Well, I mean, it kind of harkens back. I always go back to it, but it always harkens back to Jonathan Hickman and when him and Hyperion went to go fight the Beyonders. It was a fight he could not
That's
ever.
what I'm saying. Like, and that's just the character that Thor is. Like,
I love it.
dude, and it literally like it's why I love like it's why I've loved the Thor series so much and why I think Thor is such a cool character because it's just his straight up tenacity. Like he doesn't even care if it's a fight that he knows he's gonna lose.
Right.
If it's a fight that can if it's a fight that results in his death, but ultimately results in his friends being able to get away, to
Yeah.
fight another day, and to win the day, like at the
Right.
end of it all.
And to be a good king at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like and to just like to die protecting the things that he cares most and knowing that he gave it his all, like that he just wants that warrior's death. And
Yeah.
like and the fact that he's literally he faced down basically the creators of the multiverse. He
Right.
faced down the Celestials. He's faced down like the ends of the universe.
Well, that's why my Gore is my favorite villain because he basically took all that away from him. He was like, "You're not going to be the one that dies for your friends. Your friends are just going to be all dead, and
Yeah,
you're going to be the last one I get because you're going to suffer with." And that's basically what he is. He's like the king of like a peopleless Asgard. Like there's
yeah.
nobody in Asgard. He's a king of nobody.
Like
It's
and here's this thing that I don't think that I've ever really thought about until now. It's interesting to see Ewing talk about like the way that like it's or to see the way that Ewing has Thor treat the responsibility of the Allfather.
oh yeah, yeah.
Like because
Well, he expected so
basic
much out of Odin. He expected so much out of
yeah,
Odin.
so like and here's the thing is like talking about it now, like all of the versions of him as Allfather, like you have the version of him from the alternate future, like from King Thor, old King Thor, and God Butcher, and throughout Aaron's run.
Mm,
You know, it's the end of the universe, and he has nothing.
nothing.
Like he has nothing to show for his reign as king of Asgard, as the Allfather's
Thor took
protector of the
everything away.
universe.
Everything.
Right. So like, and the only thing that he had left was Earth, and how he tried to reseed it and replant it with his granddaughters, and it was the beginning of something that he like something that he really cherished. So like basically trying to right the all of the things that he did wrong or the
Yeah.
things all the inaction that he did, you know, that the things that he didn't do or didn't protect.
Yeah.
But then you also have like the timeline from Jurgen's run where you have where Magni's from, where he's a very like aggressive Iron Fist ruling like Allfather. And it's they talk about it, it's a very dark timeline and that's for good reason because like it inspires a cult on Earth. Like there's a like it's a really interesting read. That's a good couple of arcs.
Jurgens? I mean, he's solid, dude.
Yeah,
Jurgens.
it's a classic run. Um
I'll have to
but
definitely
it's
get that.
interesting to see like all of these versions of Thor that have been the Allfather. They have all taken like a pretty bad turn. Like even his start is really rocky in
Yeah.
Kate's run. You know, 6 issues in, Galactus comes to, you know, like literally like within days of him taking up the man like the throne, Galactus comes to the doorstep of Asgard. And then he
Yeah.
becomes a herald of Galactus. And then he has to go around the universe basically letting Galactus feed. And then he has to stave off the Black Winter. And then when he does that, like all of these events, and then with Donald Blake like wreaking havoc through the realms. And then you've got the god of, you know, the god of hammers who comes in and just is wiping out like Nidavellir, where he kills like some of the dwarves, like where you know it kills some of the dwarves, but like all of these like awful things are happening,
Yeah.
and it garners him the name of like it's like the Black Reign of you know the reign of the Black King basically is what they're basically saying like he's like leaving a trail of death and destruction behind him when he's since he's taking up the throne.
I
So
have
now, go ahead.
well, I have a question for you in basically since Ewing is basically touching on everything in Thor's.
Yeah,
Do you think we're gonna get a mention of Aaron's run eventually, or do you think we're gonna get like something that harkens back to that since he's like harkening back to like little things of every run? Do you think we'll
it's entirely possible. I mean, there's already been references to Aaron's run, you know, like
Well,
there's
I'm
been
more talking
references.
about like Gore, maybe like not him showing up, of course, but like mentioning or bringing
Yeah, I
something
mean
up
it's
about it, or
possible. Like I, I'm not ruling anything out at you know with this run. I knowing the kind of like continuity buff that Ewing is.
because it makes me excited. Like I hope he brings in Throg at some point. Like
Yeah.
like I
So
hope he really gets like everything. Like
yeah,
that's
and I keep saying it, but like there was an interview he did before the like right before the first issue came out, and he said he had already plotted like 40 issues of it at
Right.
that point. So
Yeah.
like if we get all 40 issues, I'm here for it, dude. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason why it
I
shouldn't go
want it to
on.
be more. I want to give me the
I mean,
50
I do
issue
too. Like let
immortal.
the
Give me the
series go
50
as
issue.
long as he wants to write it, let him write it. I don't care, dude. Like
Give me
if
the
it's
50
60
issue like
issues,
a mortal run, like you do with Hulk. Like, give me
50,
that.
give it 50, dude. I'm fine with 50. You know what I mean? Like if you want to make it 50 issues, make it 50 issues. I'll be happy with that. Um, but
I'm
I
loving
think
everything about it. I'm loving everything about it. This is a fun
absolutely me too.
series,
Like
dude.
I mean, I how can I not, dude? This is everything I could have asked for from a Thor run at this point. Um, but
Because
yeah,
I've
it's
only really
interesting.
like read Simonson, Aaron's, and now this. So,
Yeah,
and I read some of Fractions.
it's okay. I think Fractions is okay. It's pretty good. It's not awful. There's some arcs that I'm like, okay, these are whatever. But like I
Yeah.
think it's pretty good for the most part. It's not
But
bad.
I need to read Jurgens. I can only imagine how
Jurgens
dumb.
is good.
Yeah,
I when I finally get through the last 100 issues of the original Thor run, I'm gonna get to Jurgens' run and reread that finally.
yeah.
I'm excited. But um
And that was like when what year was that? Was that like when Jurgens was he was killing it at that time, wasn't he? Oh yeah.
98, I think.
Oh, this is yeah, so this is straight off of Death of Superman and everything.
Yeah, but this is also like Heroes Return, Heroes
Oh,
Reborn, or whatever it was.
right,
Heroes
yeah.
Return. I don't
Yeah.
remember. You know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about? So yeah, he's still talking. He's like basically. So my basically to finish my thought was, it's interesting to see how like Ewing has him treating the throne like it's his responsibility.
Love it.
He can't let anything else bad happen. And like he talks about the previous winter or the previous like vision of his death happening and how it was with Thanos and the and the hammer and all that stuff and the black stone, but he stopped that from happening with by going back through the time storm and that last arc of Kate's run, and then how he's kind of come to this realization that even though one winter has passed, another one is bound to like come again, like it's bound to come around again, and the one that's coming is the Utgard gods
Right,
and this death that has been prophesied by Odin that Scourge is trying to steal from him, and like these all of these plans are coming into place to kind of like steal this death from him for unknown reasons. And he's so obsessed with making sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Like he has to be the one to die.
right.
So I'm interested to see what happens when he does die. So here's the thing. I I remember this interview. I have to find it again and rewatch it and just to like kind of refresh my memory on it. But I remember there being a portion of it where Ewing talks about how like I think at maybe issue 25, there's something gonna like something happens in the book. And like well you like and Alex Ross is designing another costume for Thor.
Ooh.
So maybe he does die and he makes a sacrifice in the process or has made a sacrifice before that, you know, and we don't know, obviously we don't know what it is yet, but like let's say, some MacGuffin, Deus Ex Machina, Asgard magic, all father magic, ancient elder god magic is probably going to come into effect, I'd imagine. Something, and it's going to be done in a way that's not just like just shallow and stupid,
Right,
I'd imagine. But it'll be cool to see how that plays out if that's the case. Like if he dies halfway through the series, because the way like this issue already is pitched as like the final adventure of Thor.
right.
So like I'm pretty sure it's even on the cover. Like what does the cover say?
It says Thor's final adventure begins here.
Boom. Told
Yeah,
you. And here's the thing. You get to, you and it fits perfectly. Based on the trend that Marvel has with 25th issues being an anniversary oversized issue, their arcs being 6 issues. You have this issue. He's going into he goes into the Utgard realm by the end of this issue. He's at the gate. So you've got 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 is the final issue of the arc. You make it oversized. It's the 25th issue. It's an anniversary issue.
yeah.
You
Oh
kill
yeah.
Thor in it. You bring him back with a new power-up design, and it's kick-ass. why wouldn't you do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it makes perfect sense on all fronts. From a monetary front, variant covers are going to be insane. There's going to be
True.
spoiler variants of the new costume. Like it fits perfectly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and there's no reason. And Ewing probably that's probably baked in on purpose. Ewing says, "Listen, you let me get to 25, I kill him, or like hell, I kill him in 24." And you kill him in 24, you basically are getting people to pre-buy the next issue.
Yeah.
You and they killed him in 17. And he was brought back in 18, bam, you bring his son back.
Yeah.
Like it has a very like it's very it flows very thematically, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I love this issue, bro. Like, and then we haven't even got to the meat of it
I
because
know. I know.
while I was having this
I
conversation
know.
with Freya about all of the struggles he's dealing with as king, Sif's like, "Hey man, you got to get your ass back to Asgard. Like something is happening." And she's like, "It's like Tyrannos.
Yeah.
Like he's been delivered." And then it's basically like he's been like crucified on the wheel.
Dude, it's insane. And he's
Is
like
it?
begging for help. And like,
Yes. What's crazy about it is in issue 5, when he gave Tyrannos the hammer and he deemed him worthy, it wasn't just so he
also
could.
this double page splash of it is pretty cool. Like I know we were complaining about Kokolo not doing it, but this double
No,
page,
here's the thing. Basil Dua does a good job. I just miss Kokolo. You know what I
I do
mean?
too.
Like I'm
I do
not
too.
saying that they don't do a good job because their art kind of gives me like a very like more vibrant Olivier Coipel feel
Yeah.
in regards to like Thor, like the facial structure and the body structure of Thor for the most part, and like those characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so like what had happened is Utgard Loki has been planning kind of like this. Have like if you've been reading the series, you know that he's been had this plan from the get-go because he was busted out of Utgard by Gaia. So he's been planning all this stuff to kind of like take over the realms and do all this,
So
do all.
Yeah, because it shows Utgard Loki to be behind them.
Yes. Yeah. So like what had happened is Utgard Thor goes back to Utgard and he's like begging them, like saying like there's another way, like because when he gave Tyrannos the power of Thor and deemed him worthy to wield Mjolnir,
It made him
it
compassionate.
infected him with like a conscience. So he learned like guilt, shame, like
Genius.
sadness,
Genius, by the way. That's genius.
mercy, all of these things. So he's
Genius.
like begging Utgard Loki and the rest of the Pantheon.
It's genius because it forced worthiness onto him.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah,
Like,
yeah, and so like to have it come back and circle around in the way that it does, and he's like, I was basically humanized in this way, and it's your fault. They did this to me because of what you've done. Like this is your fault that this happened to me, so you need to now put me out of my misery. So in this issue, he becomes an Elder God Slayer. He just basically one shots Tyrannos through the head.
yeah.
So it's not even a victory. You know what I mean?
No,
And
it's
I'm pretty sure Sif even says like you have killed like he where's it at? Basically like she's saying like you kind of should be glad because of all the life that he destroyed on Earth when he showed up on Midgard,
yeah.
in the first issue. But also he's like, like this is kind of my fault. And I'm not happy that I had to slay him because that's essentially like he wasn't like it wasn't like a proud victory, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
him even apologizing to the storm clouds was like, oh man,
Yes.
like I'm
And
so
then
sorry. Like man, that shit. Yeah, I was like, damn man. Like,
yeah, good stuff, dude.
like
Like and that's like the bulk of the issue, and it's and then of course he has a very
intimate moment
intimate
with Sif.
moment with Sif. They kiss and he's kind of like, hey, like this isn't goodbye, like
Yeah, but he even ends it off with like you know, you are a good friend to me. Like,
yeah.
it's more of like It's not really like too much of a romantic
romantic,
thing.
yeah, kind of
It's
like a
like
parting
more of a
ways kind of thing.
yeah,
Because here's the thing is like I think he knows this. Like he's if he does come back from this, if he does at all, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things like he doesn't know if he's gonna come back from this, so he doesn't want to like he's kind of like saying like hope for the best, but if I don't come back, this is like farewell, like this is goodbye.
yeah.
So like, and she, and she's kind of like in belief that it's not like that wasn't like a goodbye kind of kiss, you know. Um, I don't know what this means because of their history in general, because they really had a very romantic history for a long time.
Yeah, but it's also like I just can't help but think about Bill, and I'm like,
And that's exactly where I'm going with that is but here's the thing is
yeah, man.
if you think about it, Bill's like not really in a place right now where he can kind of have that. And the way that she treated him at the beginning of the Daniel Warren Johnson series, like with kind of like, hey, can you get out of the horse form? You know what I mean? And he's like, hey, and he's like, hey, I can't because I don't have my hammer
Yeah,
because remember Thor broke it.
yeah,
And so she's like, oh, like then, sorry. And then he's like kind of he's pretty bummed out about that because like they have a history together too.
yeah,
So it's kind of like upsetting to him that he kind of had to go through that. Like almost again, like he every time he sees her, I'm sure he probably is just reliving that like moment of
yeah.
like
Oh,
kind
for
of
sure.
rejecting me
Because
because
even in that Tales of Asgard, right? They kind of showed that, right?
yeah, like in that one page, like he shifts into his like human form, but like he's even very like melancholy about it because at this point he kind of doesn't know what his place is
Right,
other than is like he's just a weapon in terms of like that's what his use to Asgard has been is like he's the war general.
right. And he shows up to be part of the Thor force, and
Yeah, so like anytime like there's a fight to be had, he's there. And
yeah.
like and here's what's crazy to me is like he's so loyal to them when like really the only like and Thor's never really been like at least in modern Thor, he hasn't really been the greatest friend to Bill.
No, for sure.
You have a lot of their situation in Unworthy like Bill offers his hammer to Thor in Unworthy. And he's like even then he's like at that point he's even willing to give up everything. It's like you're like you basically saying like I'll do anything for you like my brother.
Yeah,
He's like take my hammer.
right.
And like and
Even in
even
like, wasn't it Kate's run where he was
yeah,
kind
in
of
Kate's run
hurtful?
like and
Because he
Thor
was
and
like just became All Father, right? So he was kind
I
of
would
like,
need to reread Unworthy Thor, but I don't even remember Thor being like all that like one being like grateful for that like Thor like that Bill would even like offer that up. But like what's interesting to me is like
well, I think he knows like how much the universe has a loss with Thor being unworthy, and like,
yeah, exactly. And like exactly. And like that's the whole point is like he's so loyal to Asgard. But part of that I think stems from his loyalty to Odin
but
because
I
of
mean
what
that's his
Odin gave
personality
him.
is sacrifice, though. He sacrifices
Exactly.
everything.
Like he he was one of the few surviving, people of the Corbinite people. And he is like their ultimate warrior. And he's sent out to try and like find a way to stave off extinction because the fire demons are coming to wipe them out from the burning galaxy. And so like from the get-go, he's like he has this like mission baked into him. Like just I have to protect everything that's dear to me. And so like when he's adopted into Asgard, he kind of that they kind of come into that fold of I need to protect them all because they're my family because of these things that they've done for me. And then like especially Odin and what Odin does and Odin treats him like a son every time that he like calls upon him, every time that he's in there around in Asgard, like he treats Bill like a son.
Yeah, right.
So like I'm not surprised that Bill has such a loyalty to Asgard and its people and even the throne. But like and because Thor is like a brother to him. They made an oath together when they fought and he was the first other person to wield the hammer.
Yeah.
So like
Simonson, man. Simonson's run,
yeah,
man.
exactly. So it's like it's iconic for that reason. But like to circle back around to him and Sif, who knows, dude? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of an interesting love triangle, I think, at this point because and it's just kind of drama all around, the soap opera
You got
aspect.
Amora just trying to.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you have a very soap opera aspect to the romance,
Yeah.
which it's not. I'm not surprising, you know. Like Thor has kind of always had this kind of bit of a soap opera for men kind of feel. And I've always kind of felt that way. Like even when it was like the Donald Blake style stuff, it was very like. Did your mom ever watch like General Hospital?
My mom watched Days of Our Lives.
It's same shit, dude. Basically,
Yeah.
same thing, same shit. But it's
Yeah.
like General Hospital is like all these people work in the hospital together. But it's like Donald Blake is the hot is he's the doctor, bro. And all of the early Thor, like from 80 the Journey 83 till literally he's not Donald Blake anymore. It's just
Soap opera.
human soap opera. It's all it is. Like when Roy Thomas like when all of the other writers take over after Lee and Kirby, like it's just the same stuff over and over and over. And then you get your like him fighting the villain of the week, or it's a couple issues where it's like an ongoing arc, but it's
Yeah.
all the Donald Blake human stuff is just soap opera like drama, and it's hilarious. And I always think it's like this is literally a soap opera magazine for men. Like that's all it is, dude.
Right. Well, you gotta everybody forgets that like Marvel like killed it with like romance.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like it's not surprising that that's kind of
yeah.
where like a lot of the like human interactions and stuff,
And
especially with like
Ewing's
the
always gonna
romancing.
harken back to those true roots.
Yeah, the Silver
So
Age stuff.
yeah.
So that's cool. I kind of dug it, but we'll see what happens with
How
that.
do you feel about like now he's picking up on like Thanos and the time with Boar and like he's like basically trying to like put a knot like put a tie on like what that final arc.
Yeah, I'm glad that they were kind of like capping it off and saying like that. Like what happened is like been avoided, but he doesn't know that Thanos is back. So then Thanos. Okay, so speaking of Thanos. He crosses the Black Bridge again that he crossed with Loki many years ago because the gates of Utgard is open again. But in the previous issue, in the Tales of Asgard issue, Scourge had gone to God, I'm blanking on its damn name right now. This is gonna kill me, dude. What's his name? The God of Doom or whatever his name is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm trying to remember.
Uller.
Uller.
Uller, the guy with the hood. He's like
Yeah,
got the fire. He's got
that's
they.
right.
So yeah. So he's now kind of like their like Asgard's like kind of like wizard in Loki's place. And so Scourge goes up to him and basically says like, "You need to make me a weapon so I can kick Thor's ass." And so he does, but he has to make a sacrifice to get it, and he does. And at the end of this issue, Thor approaches the gates of Utgard, and Scourge is standing there with the axe that Uther made for him, ready to kick Thor's ass and steal that death from him, because that's kind of what his whole mission has been. Is he's brought back from Valhalla via a back door that Odin had and worked with Amora and Ager and all that stuff because he was trying to steal that death from Thor because he was brought back to deliver that message, but he feels robbed because he wants to be dead. It was the one thing that he could claim for himself that he did, and
Right,
it was the death he had at the bridge of hell in Simonson's run. Like it was like Scourge's final stand.
right,
So like that whole like he wants that back. He like that's the one thing that he can like claim be like that was mine and I defended that bridge and I saved all of Asgard basically. I saved all of those people with my final stand with my redemption.
right,
So he wants that back for himself. But behind the gate is Thanos. I don't know what this means,
right.
but based on Nar the hooded Medjed, I think, yeah, it's Medjed, the guy that was hammering the nails into Tyrannos' hands and feet in the earlier scene.
Yeah.
They're all gods of death. Does that mean that Thanos is officially a god of death and he's joined the Utgard pantheon?
Oh no.
Because he's you know what I mean? Like it's not entirely impossible because he has interactions with the Death Stone. He kind of embody he
Maybe
embodies
he's
death
like
in it.
maybe it's connected to like the Utgard boar and he was basically connected to Boar last.
Yeah, so like I don't know what he's gonna represent exactly. Like I don't know what his purpose is, but what's kind of crazy about it is he's also was Eternal Prime, you know what I mean? So he's holding all these titles and all of these different like sects of like different areas of the Marvel Universe
Right.
as of the last several years. So if that's the case, that's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Thanos that much, but it'd be cool to see kind of what his role is if he's kicking around.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Ewing's even touching this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I'm for the ride.
Yeah.
It's been a great run so far. I have no complaints about it, you know. You could tell he really is passionate about this and you could really feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. He really enjoys Thor as a character, which is nice because it's always nice when somebody likes the character that they're writing.
Yeah. I know it's a foreign concept for a lot of people these days. But yeah,
Uh,
dude, loved it.
I got time for one more book, I think.
All right, let's see. I guess we could talk about it, man. One World Under Doom.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
What do you think, dude?
Ryan North, man. Yeah.
Killed it, bro.
Yeah. The
Fire.
the voice for Doom is amazing in this. What's happening in this?
Yeah.
You know, it's very much that whole thing of like maybe Doom can save the world, you know? It's like those things where it's like, he has a
Yeah.
point. Like he has a point.
Yeah, like here's the thing is like he's not wrong, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's hard to argue with like the points that he makes because he's like, all right, guy, like just the way that you really demand subservience by all people all the time is a little too much for me.
right.
But like, and even then, he's kind of like, your daily lives aren't really gonna change. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, like, your leaders just need to basically answer to me, and all I'm really asking for is you guys listen, and I'll give you all of the things that you should
You
already
guys
be
get
happy
free health
that.
care. You guys are gonna
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like, so it's like I'm not trying to be like, and that's the thing with Doom is like you can always see the point in what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's very like it's it's almost like the charisma, you know what I mean? It's hard to like get over the fact that it's like, damn, dude, it's like the way that you just have this like aura about you, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's hard to be like, dude. And the way that he phrases it, you're just like, damn, all right.
Yeah. I mean, people who North knows how to write Doom, so I'm just glad about that. Like I feel like there's only a few people who like really can get Doom down correctly. And because he's just so pompous. He's so insistent on himself and like he's so it's really like it's as badass as it is funny. Like a lot of times. Like I laugh
Yeah.
like a lot of Doom
Yeah.
dialogue.
I always like have a chuckle when I like seeing him like talk himself up. But I'm like, dude, you're like kind of like you're like one of the only people that I can like that can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the Marvel universe, you're like kind of one of the few characters that can like get away with it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty cool. Like even reading this is like pretty lost. He's like, what do I do? And then finding out Zemo, like the whole part with Zemo in this,
yeah,
like
because it's kind of like a three-way battle. Essentially, like you have the whole situation with like him asserting dominance over the world, the Avengers and the Fantastic Four kind of planning their move against him and what to do. And then you have Zemo who comes into the picture and is like, well, we're gonna take his ass down.
yeah,
And then the Avengers finally get there, and when they bust in there, they like are working together and they're like, what the hell
yeah,
is going on? But then only, eventually because of course it's Doom,
yeah.
it's a bot, you know what I mean?
But yeah, dressed as Zemo, of course.
Yeah, so then the Avengers reveal that to the world, but like Hydra's like, oh, we gotta like mess it up now because it's time.
Yeah,
Our leader's dead. And then so of course Doom's like comes into the rescue. It's very like Mysterio in that way where he kind of has been orchestrating these events to kind of
yeah.
fall into his lap to kind of show like I can save the day.
I'm so glad we got this though. It's back.
Yeah, dude. That was sick. The
That
dinosaur.
paid off.
That
It
was
even
so cool,
references
dude.
Fantastic Four number 13.
Yeah, I was like, that was so good. But then it's just like a few pages of Doom just like kind of saving everyone
Yeah,
because the Avengers like kind of can't mop things up, but they're like, damn, like what do we do? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. And even
And
Reed's
then
like he just played into his hands like all
yeah,
over. Like, we just
and these last few pages, man, where Doom is like, Doom is wisdom,
yeah,
Doom is power, Doom is prosperity, and then the lady with her baby is like, and only Doom can save us. I was like, oh.
Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. I can only
Yeah.
imagine what Ryan
And it's
North.
9 issues,
And
dude.
it's 9 issues. Yeah,
That's gonna be so good.
yeah. I'm loving these covers too, dude.
That
Like,
was kind of a quick summarization, but I don't really want to spoil this because this is like something everybody should be reading.
oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Like this is like kind of I think this is gonna be probably very important in
And
terms of
it's
like
paying off too because it really feels like it's because he's using the same Jed McKay Avengers. So if you're
yeah,
reading Avengers and you're reading this, you're really like, okay,
right.
cool.
And it's really built off not only his run in Fantastic Four, but um Jed McKay's Doctor Strange. And when Strange dies, Doom is like, "It's my turn. Like, where's my mantle?"
Yeah,
Because I was second. I was already second place in the tournament for the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme anyway. So like, it's my
right.
turn. Like it's my turn. So where's all my shit? But Clea's like, well, he specifically left it to me. So it's kind of like circumvents that. So he's like already bitter about that. So he shows up early on in that run when Clea takes the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme. But then like even later on, he's like he's dicking around in space with the Guardians in Ewing's run and doing stuff, making moves out there.
Doom is?
Yeah, he makes plays out there. He no listen and I'm if I remember right, he switches minds with Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, was that why Jed J. Michael Straczynski put that book out or what?
Yes. Well, no, like that's why I think they referenced that in there, right?
Yeah,
Yes. So that is Ewing's run. So yeah, they switch minds for a minute, and it's pretty funny when they realize that Rocket is actually Doom.
that is funny.
And, yeah,
Who wrote that?
Ewing.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, it
hilarious.
was good. It was great. And then so like he starts making plays out in space, like out in the universe, like with some of so like he's this has kind of been like built up over the course of several years. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like Doom's all of his plans have kind of come to fruition because there's the last annihilation, and he's a part of that with stopping Dormammu, who Dormammu is going to play a role in this by that like the halfway point because issue 4 reveals that he's like going to be coming to Earth, so they're going to be interacting again.
Okay,
So Doom has like been making moves and like been tearing shit up for a little while.
that's crazy. And
So
he
it's cool.
orchestrated Blood Hunt apparently. So
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's been making all these big old plays with all of these forces,
yeah,
cosmic forces, magical forces, evil forces, multiversal forces. He's been of course he that's what he does. He plays all the strings, you know what I mean? He pulls all the strings.
yeah, of course.
So it's cool to see like kind of his plan starting to unfold now.
Yeah, man. Ryan North is killing it. I'm loving that they're giving him the keys to do a.
Because sorry, not to like interrupt you, but
No, you're good. You're good.
he yeah, I'm pretty sure in Ewing's Guardians, he talks about how like Earth would be ready to enter like the universal stage or like the universal theater, I think is what he called it, like as a planet, and we can compete with like the Kree or the Skrull or all of these like higher tier, planets and civilizations more than just sending out Storm to be the Region of Soul to go talk to them at when they have their meeting.
Yeah,
So to represent humanity and the solar system. So Doom has this like ideology that if everybody on Earth were unified under one banner, they could ascend to that universal theater and they would be on an equal playing field with the rest of the universe in terms of technology, like civil like just all just like their civilization as a whole.
yeah,
That's what he truly believes. So and I can't remember what issue it's in, but I'm pretty sure he makes that like very evident, like to the Guardians, like or like to people on Earth, like if we did this, we would be at that level, but we can't do it. Is basically what he's saying. Is like he's like no, like humanity without being under an iron fist, there's no way that they could do it on like willingly. And he's right. You know what I mean? Like there are too many. Humanity is like we focus on what is so different. So and that's kind of what Doom's point is with all this. He's like basically saying like all of these like things that inhibit us from being like a unified people.
Right.
I'm going to try and limit those and take those away and make life better and make things better for all of us. So like I'm interested to see if that's part of his greater plan is not only like he now has the means to defend the earth on the magical level as well as the technological, like on both fields.
Right.
He's also essentially probably it might usher Earth into like that universal, level and kind of be playing at an even greater level with
But you
things.
did see that in the latest issue of Fantastic Four that Reed has been studying magic.
Yes,
So that's going to play a role.
yes. So that'll be really cool to see what happens when, Reed finally maybe we'll see he'll maybe
Because he set a spell in that and got themselves out of a
yeah.
situation.
Well, yeah, so maybe we'll see like, the fruits of his labor at one
And we
point.
get to see like Reed for the first time like understand magic, like finally
Yeah.
figure magic out.
Yeah, that's like maybe by the end of this event, maybe we'll see him like become pretty, adept with magic.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe he'll have been practicing for a little while at some point, and it's been like the ace in the hole.
Yeah. That's
I
I
would
mean it was
be
the ace
interested
in
to
the
see
hole
that.
for that latest Fantastic Four issue, so
Right, and Doom's probably again gonna underestimate him and be like, oh, like he barely practiced. He did all of that time for just that one little spell. Like how good could he really get?
it's just he like it's completely unexpected and Reed just comes does it and he just thinks like Reed, you're so dumb, you can't figure this out. Yeah, you might be smarter than me on science.
Yeah, he's like, but you'll never be my match on magic. But
Yeah.
like little does he know it's probably gonna be his downfall.
Yeah, because
He's
he's
so
gonna
fascinating.
underestimate Reed and Reed's gonna do like some random spell on him or
Yeah,
to
exactly.
him and then
It'll
he's
be
gonna be super shocked and like Richards, what?
every damn time. It'll be
How do you know magic?
yeah. No, it was great though. I really like this issue. It's great.
Yeah, this is great. I love what North is doing with I'm only going to be reading
Yeah.
One World Under Doom and Fantastic Four, so you got to fill me in on the other tie-ins because you're still
Yeah,
reading
I mean,
Storm and stuff, right?
huh?
You're still reading like Storm and stuff, right?
Yes, Storm's been great
So
actually,
let me know how that One World Under Doom tie-in goes.
dude. Yeah, I will.
I wonder
It's
because I'm
supposed to
only
be.
going to be reading the main series and Fantastic.
Governor seems to be indicating that she'll be dancing around with Oblivion, so we'll see what happens. But
That's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
game.
all right,
I'm
man.
excited about them.
I know you got to get going.
Yep, it's getting late.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Mhm.
I like getting to chat about more books now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. We don't get to talk at the shop, so it's pretty cool that we're
Yeah, yeah,
killing
yeah.
birds with
No,
one stone
definitely.
here.
Just kind of like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is always fun. All right, my
Hell
man.
yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Later
We'll
on,
be
guys.
back next time.
Hell yeah. Later on,
Later.
guys.